3rd of February 2021, and excuse me being basic and crude, it's bloody Mercury retrograde again. Now this Mercury retrograde is really weird. So here it is, right? Over the months of the last 6 months, I've been a bit wishy-washy with predictions around the coronavirus. But one of the things I've been most consistent of, especially in recent months, is that I've been saying that as we get into early 2021, the virus is going to fade into the background and become much more part of the background furniture. Never going to go away, always going to be there in some way, but perhaps similar to the common cold or the flu virus by the time we get into the second quarter of the year. Now, in recent weeks, all around the world, the virus is escalating with amazing variants. I've heard of in Britain the Kent, Bristol, Liverpool variant, the South African variant, the Brazilian variant. I've heard of the Alabama variant and the Texas variant in America, and for all I know there's hundreds of different variants. Common law has it that as viruses break down into different variants, so they generally become weaker. Now, I believe that to be true. I don't have the scientific background to be able to state that with certainty. In recent weeks, I've been becoming more and more convinced that the more we get into 2021, the virus is going to fade into the background. It's going to become less and less the news. And yet, I'm seeing in the news the fact that more and more people are dying, and it's brought me to tears, some of it. I have got members of my family with the virus. I have got colleagues and friends with the virus. So, in my world, it's real. And I'm picking up loads of stuff that says to me, look, it's not long now, but we're in a Mercury retrograde and Saturn's coming up to square Uranus, of which more on the next video. So it's weird because I've been talking to one or two other people like Amanda and things like that, and people like that. And in this last year, it's been looking at a rotten apple that's rotten to the core. And now it's like looking at this apple that's rotten all around the outside, which is what everyone's seeing. But on the inside, there's fresh flesh coming through. And I still maintain that with the new moon in Pisces coming up, oh, blimey, when? Around the 13th of March this year, which will be conjunct Neptune, this will be a kind of symbolic ending time of a severity of the coronavirus globally. It would have fragmented into so many different variants by then, it will be becoming weaker. And I still maintain that from my astrological perspective, I believe that this is coming to an end, or at least coming to a close, and we no longer have to worry about it as much as we have done over recent years. It's going to be replaced by other problems, don't worry, we're not going to get away scot-free, we never do. But now we've got Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. And there's a few problems here because during Mercury's retrograde passage, it's going to be passing forward, backward, forward 3 times, squaring Mars. So the irritability, fractiousness, angst, argumentativeness, Mars in Taurus, square Mercury in Aquarius, it's not given to compromise. And the vitriol and anger of people towards each other for no apparent reason apart from just spoiling for a fight is likely to continue for the short-term future. And also, when Mercury stops going backwards and starts moving forwards, the actual date of this is February the 21st. But over the period basically from sort of February the 11th right the way through to about March the 10th, for 4 weeks, Mercury is never going to be that far away from Jupiter. So we've got a month of a Mercury-Jupiter conjunction coming up, which is going to lead to massive amounts of disinformation. It's going to lead to massive amounts of situations being over the top and larger than life. There's going to be a great deal of hype and spin. And to use an Englishism, there's going to be a lot of storms in a teacup. And if people can make a crisis out of what is merely a drama, they will. However, there's also going to be underlying this a degree of optimism and humour. There's a few people on my WhatsApp list, and some of the videos have been just making me roll on the floor with laughter. And that, as a few of you know, my catchphrase is negativity can't exist where there's humour. Incidentally, big thank you for all the nice comments I did on that last video on Jupiter on the course I'm teaching at the moment. It's available on my website on the streaming page. It went really, really well. Thank you to all the students. Without Jupiter, yes, we wouldn't have the overinflatedness of the world, but we also wouldn't have the humour and the hope and the optimism. So, even though it's Mercury retrograde, even though Saturn's coming up to start squaring Uranus, I urge you all, keep the faith, not the faith in anyone or anything, least of all astrologers, but keep the faith in yourself, in your own humour. Find the humour, even if it's through the tears. And if I say, trust me, I'm an astrologer, you're going to sort of laugh, but I still think 6 weeks or less, by mid-March, this is going to be basic. The worst of this is going to be well over. Hang in there. Keep going. Later.